First of all, I would like to thank you, the organizers, and Dr. Sanaullah and his team for providing us this opportunity to share our experience and views on this topic. All the honorable guests, especially guest of honors and chief guest, and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. So coronary disease is the most common type of heart disease we all know, and mostly it appears in the proximal portions of the coronary artery disease. But there is another type of coronary artery disease which is basically microvascular disease, which happens in the small or branch arteries. And the atherosclerosis is basically the process which initiates the obstructive lesions in the coronary arteries by creating a plaque and obstructing the way of the blood flow. And the basic mechanism, as far as the basic concern, is endothelial dysfunction, arterial injury, which leads to inflammation, and inflammation try to restore the luminal patency, and then, but if the stimulus which has led to this inflammation persists, then the inflammation itself leads to the obstruction of the lumen. These are just pictorial representations of the inflammation and leading to the plaque formation in the coronary artery and leading to the ischemia and subsequently infarction of the myocardium. As far as the diffuse coronary artery disease is the presence of multiple sclerotic stenosis or long segment stenosis in the coronary artery. As you can see in the picture, this LED is shown which has got multiple lesions and there is no area to properly revascularize it. So progressive diffuse coronary disease involves local atheroma, plaque formation, biological stimuli, and then necrosis, and then leads to complication. It is a slowly developing process, and it may be of some benefit because by creating some collateral circulations. But it is very challenging for the surgeons or even for the interventional cardiologists how to manage this condition because of the obvious reasons that there is no specific place to apply the graft in these coronary vessels. You can see these two pictures where you can see the LED had multiple lesions. So it is very difficult for surgeon to where to apply the graft and how to revascularize that particular area of the myocardium. As compared to these discrete or focal lesion where you have a distal very good arterial flow, you can see arterial flow after proximal stenosis. So as compared to this, the diffuse disease is very difficult to manage. How to quantify diffuse disease? So because this diffuse disease is different in different patient, and most of it is because of their verbal or discussion or eyeballing of the region. So it is basically visual assessment or visual estimation of the diffuse disease. But recent literature has suggested how to gauge this these diffuse lesion. And recent article from cardiology has suggested a pullback gradient, pressure gradient measurement, and they have formulated that 0 is applied to the diffuse disease and 1 applied to the focal lesions. So that metric can be used to quantify the diffuse disease. And there are several factors which promote to the coronary artery disease, modifiable and non-modifiable factors, but some additional factors are involved in these diffuse disease like chronic kidney disease, connective tissue disorders, and presence of multiple stents in the coronary arteries. The symptomatology is mostly similar as for other coronary artery disease. The diffuse disease has similar kind of symptoms. And so the management is also on the line of providing or improving the coronary blood flow. And these can be with the medications, and the most common medications are the anti-anginals, anti-platelets, anti-failure, and the combination of these medications will improve the patient's clinical condition. The next line of treatment is angioplasty or stent placement, and then there comes the coronary artery bypass grafting. But we suggested that the coronary artery bypass grafting for focal lesion is very good, but in cases of diffuse disease, it's technically challenging. For those, there is endarterectomy is the solution. Endarterectomy means removing the entire atheroma and then creating a non-endothelial vessel and then applying the graft on those. And the another entity is the enhanced external counter pulsation, and this is also for some of the patients who cannot undergo revascularization by PCI or by CABG, or even after these procedures, if they continue to have anginal symptoms. So this is one of the techniques which can probably have improved their blood flow or improve their symptoms. Some people see that there is a disadvantage of CABG in these patients. What is the disadvantage? Is it technically very demanding, and sometimes even with grafting or with the stent, you may not be able to provide blood that is required, and there may be the results are totally different from the CABG in a patient who has got a focal disease. So there is a high mortality, and one of the studies suggested that if these patients who were rendered non-operable or not suitable for angioplasty, and if they were followed, so even within few months, most of them, more than 60%, died during 3-4 month follow-up. Similarly, if the CABG was done in presence of this, even with coronary endarterectomy, the result was 2.4%, as compared to if you leave this patient, their mortality is very high. So something needs to be done. So there are aggressive surgical strategies to take care of these lesions. And one of the strategies is to deal with these lesions by avoiding the plaque techniques. So in that technique, you use multiple grafts or a single graft at a multiple position. You use composite graft. And the other technique is a plaque manipulation technique, where you use long segment anastomosis after whether plaque exteriorization or after plaque removal. There's a patchplasty and endarterectomy. And there are two types of endarterectomy you will see in a picture. It's closed or open. So these are some configuration of supplying or providing blood flow to the diffuse artery with multiple lesions. So you can have two grafts, or you can have a single graft with sequential anastomosis. Then you can use the composite graft. And as the arterial graft are being recommended more often now, so if these additional areas are supplied by the arterial grafts, their results are better. And this has been proven in the recent multivariate analysis as well. And this is another technique where the plaque is exteriorized. By opening the artery with plaque, the anastomosis is made in a way that the plaque is exteriorized and is now out of the anastomotic suture line. Another technique is doing the endarterectomy, that is removing the entire atheroma. And this can be done even off-pump surgery. You can see on the left picture the stabilizing devices that the people have used off-pump. During off-pump also they have removed this carotid, coronary and thrombus. So closed versus open. So it can be closed. Closed means where you do a small arteriotomy and you milk out the entire atheroma. And the other is the open, where you give a big incision. So if there is a small incision, you can use a long anastomosis. And if you do a longer, then you have to have either patch or a long anastomosis of the artery. In next picture, you will see that there is a long arteriotomy, then endarterectomy, and then followed by a patchplasty, and subsequently internal mammary arteries anastomosed to this area. So these are just post-operative picture of a patient who underwent this arterial reconstruction, and subsequently the Lima is providing a good flow to the LAD territory. We at Khan, we also studied this coronary endarterectomy, and this was a retrospective data. And in this study, there were 80 patients, and in this study, we also found that the mortality was relatively higher, but we were able to provide blood flow in these patients. The mortality was only 2.5%, as in the literature also. So there was a little bit higher rate, because they were at a higher risk to start with as well. So coronary endarterectomy is isolated CABG is feasible where there is no alternative, sufficient revascularization, and can be performed with acceptable results. The way forward in these cases is not straightforward. So the cardiologists, cardiac surgeons, and interventional cardiologists with their clinical acumen, expertise, and technical skill sets like some intervention from atherectomy and coronary endectomy by surgeons, they can complement each other to improve the revascularization strategy in these patients. And the future promises in stem cell therapy, or even if you cannot do anything, you can go towards the heart transplantation in these otherwise high-risk patients. So these are few pictures where our colleagues from interventional, they have provided stenting to these vessels which were diffusely diseased, and they were able to provide good flow in the suture. And similarly, as a surgeon, the reconstruction of the artery at the site of diffuse disease and then subsequently in anastomosis with the lima provide a good flow. So these are some strategy which can improve. This pictorial representation of a standard or conventional CABG is done in 80% of the patient, where you can see the internal memory artery and vein graft are applied to the other vessels. But I would suggest that instead of, now we should move forward, and instead of these veins, we should add at least one additional arterial graft to them. That will help the patients in futures. So thank you very much.